Hello and welcome to KnightHunter Books for our favourite books of 2018. We haven't gone with 18, which a lot of people do, just because that would be a significant proportion of how many books we read, so we thought you'd maybe prefer to just see the cream of the crop. So we're going for roughly top 10 between us.
And yeah, we're not doing 10 each because that would also be a very long video.
To be fair, there's quite a lot of overlap as well.
I'm not actually as good at ranking books as Bex, so my books are certainly books that I've very much enjoyed, but I've given slightly more weight to ones that I haven't seen anybody else talk about.
Whereas my books are the books that I rated 4.5 and above.
My first book is actually two books. It's the Clocktaur Wars by T Kingfisher, which is actually Ursula Vernon. This is a duology, and these were some of the best high fantasy I've read in a while. Reminds me of Pratchett quite a lot, in that there's quite a lot of sort of humour and poignancy sort of woven in. It had me cackling in places and crying repeatedly, which is, I think, quite impressive. Also introduced me to the idea of ninja accountants, which is just entertaining in and of itself.
My first book is actually a non-fiction, which is definitely going to be the first time a non-fiction has ever appeared in my favourite books of the year. This is Jonathan Safran Foer's Eating Animals, and is, I think, my favourite non-fiction I've ever read. He's one of my favourite authors anyway for his fiction books, but this was powerful, accessible, you still got to enjoy his brilliant way with words, full of information, but tended to show both sides of the story and made me cry and just everything I'd look for in a non-fiction book. And I read it really quickly, I just did not want to put it down, which I've never had before. So would definitely recommend if you are even a little bit interested in vegetarianism. Don't worry, it's not going to, insist that you never touch meat again in your life. Leaves it very much up to you.
My next book is Space Opera by Catherynne Valente, which is a ridiculous, riotous thing of a book, full of ridiculous run-on sentences. I have no idea how the audiobook narrator coped. Humans have made first contact with aliens. Aliens have decided that there is one way to decide who are people and who are meat. That is something very similar to the Eurovision Song Contest.
In space.
2/3 of an ageing splatterpunk trio from the UK have been selected to represent Earth. No pressure, guys. If you come last, then humanity will be painlessly extinguished and Earth will be encouraged to try again later. Humour is underrepresented, I think, in science fiction. This is an example of what happens when it goes really very well.
After talking about my favourite non-fiction ever, now I'm going to move on to my favourite graphic novel series ever. I've had a very good year. This is Monstress by Marjorie and Sana Takeda. This is dark, beautiful, captivating, the world building is incredible, and it just reads like nothing else I've read before and does it so well. This sort of has a steampunk aesthetic in a fantasy world full of gods and monsters.
My third book is another US import, apologies to our UK viewers. It's An Unkindness of Magicians by Kat Howard. When I wrapped it up, I just kind of gushed about it. It's this glittering, crystalline thing. It's like being transported into a ridiculously high-budget HBO drama where lives are gambled and won and lost. It's set during a contest to determine who is going to rule magical society in Manhattan. The point of view characters are the underdogs, the outsiders, and the rulers of magical Manhattan have set up a very nice, clean system whereby they don't get any better at magic, but the cost is paid by other people who are unseen and carefully kept out of the way.
Speaking of ritualised torture, my next book is Ninefox Gambit by Yoon Lee. The world building in this was really what stood out for me. It's a wonderful combination of science fiction and fantasy, space opera where the technology is powered by calendrical systems, so when you have your feast days and when you torture your heretics. I loved the characters in this as well, which is particularly what made this one stand out to me rather than the others. So the point of view character has
a technologically mediated ghost inserted into her head.
So you've got that wonderful internal dialogue and the mystery of who that character is. Not easy to read, but very rewarding.
My fourth book I don't have to hand because I've lent it out, which was Careless. It's The End of the Day by Claire North, which is a blisteringly angry read following Charlie, a normal bloke who likes the saxophone and went to university in Birmingham, who works in an office in Milton Keynes. His job is to go before death. He is the harbinger of death. Sometimes he comes as a warning, sometimes he comes as a courtesy, always to people or to concepts that are about to die. In this, he visits the last alone, unmourned woman who's the last to speak a language in South America. He visits he visits an ice shelf in Greenland as it collapses into the sea. He visits the last piece of social housing in London as it's torn down and turned into luxury flats. That should give you a feel for where Claire North is going with this. You come to really feel for Charlie and the humanity he brings to the inhuman process of change.
My last one I'm not going to talk about very much because we've done a review for it, which we'll link down below, but that's In Other Lands by Sarah Rees Brennan.
He came very close to coming into my top set, so probably qualifies as an honourable mention.
This book is a deconstruction of the portal fantasy and also of gender norms, which I particularly enjoyed. It has a lot of what you'd expect from a fantasy where kids go to a magical school, but the characters were so believable, the relationships. It just gave me that feeling that I don't get very often, where I just want to almost go and read fan fiction about it. I just want more. The book was not long enough. So for that, it gets put on this list.
I'm very fond of contemporary protagonists who have any sort of genre savvy at all, and this protagonist definitely does. My honourable mention is No One by Nick Harquay, which I won't talk about in length because I filmed a review for, which I'll link down below, but also very good.
And my honourable mention is Record of a Spaceborne Few by Becky Chambers, which we also have a review for, so we'll link down below.
Hope everybody had a fantastic reading year in 2018. I think Bex had a slightly better reading year than I did, though mine improved markedly towards the end. What were your favourite books this year?
If you've read any of these books that we've put in our top 10, would they feature in yours?
Thank you for watching. We'll see you again soon.